Hey guys, and welcome back to my Let's Play of LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga. We finally finished free play mode, but just before we moved on to challenge mode, I just wanted to take care of the little bonus stuff that you get for every single episode. So in each room, in addition to the 6 episode doors, there will also be a few other doors. I'm just going to read this for a second. So, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, Character Bonus, Theed Palace. As the Republic struggles to deal with the Trade Federation threat and the evil Sith plan to destroy the Jedi, daily life goes on across the galaxy. In Theed Palace on Naboo, intrepid adventurers compete to collect 1 million LEGO studs in the fastest time possible. It's the desperate, ruthless life of a world in turmoil. So there's an extra door for every episode, and that contains 3 objectives. One is the super story, which I'm not showing off. And that is the most pointless addition in this entire game, because it's just going through story mode again, and you got to try and do it in under an hour and collect 100,000 studs, which is very easy to do. Under an hour is a bit trickier for the originals. It's easy. It's really easy for the prequels. You can do them in less than half of that. But for the originals, it is quite hard, especially Return of the Jedi. But I'm not going to bother showing that off because it's just the story mode again, and we're already seeing every single level 3 times. You know, that isn't fun. I don't know why they added that in. Especially when they've already added in challenge mode. So we have the other 2 objectives, which are the ones you do get power bricks for. You do get a power brick for completing Super Story in 2. You don't get that here. I'm pretty sure you don't get that here. And you do have to, and even though you don't get a power brick for them, you do still need to actually get to, you still need to beat the set times. I think you only get the power brick, the gold brick, or, yeah, the gold brick, not the power brick. I think you only need to complete this to get the gold brick, but in order to get 100%, you do need to do this in under 5 minutes. It does add towards the percentage, same with the 2 objectives in Super Story. And each episode has 2 kinds of bonuses. There is an on-foot one, which is the character bonus, which just allows you to play as any character you've unlocked and then just works exactly as it did in free play mode. So you can pick one, the other character, or unless you're in 2-player, in which case you both pick a character. And then everything else is selected at random and just contains all the types of characters that you need. The second one is Minikit bonus. So you do need to get a few mini-kits in order to do this. In the end, you probably could do it with just the one. I mean, throughout all 6, I will be using pretty much the same vehicle throughout, which is the Y-Wing. Same one I've been using in free play mode for the vehicle levels. I'm going to be using it for these as well. I will be showing off all of the mini-kit stuff I've collected, because there is an area outside the hub world that allows you to view them all. I mean, it just looks exactly the same as how they do when we see it get built in the at the end of the level. And the objective for both of them is to collect 1 million studs. So naturally, you're gonna have it turns off your stud multipliers. Weirdly, these are a lot easier in the Complete Saga. In LEGO Star Wars 2, it turns off all of your extras. Absolutely all of them. You can't even access the extras menu, which rather annoyingly, if you then want to do something in free play mode or story mode again, you do have to turn them all back on. So it doesn't like reactivate them when you finish the level. But it doesn't do that for all of them here. It will still do it for Super Story, and I believe it still does it for Challenge Mode and the Bounty Hunter missions. But for the bonuses, it only deactivates some of them. That includes the stud multipliers, and I think, yeah, the stud magnet is deactivated as well. Basically, it's most of the stud objects. But I believe you keep your invincibility, I mean, I haven't got... It doesn't matter about the character studs, because any character you destroy, any enemy you destroy in these will give you studs anyway. So I don't know if it deactivates character bonus or not. In the end, it really doesn't matter. But I'm not sure about stuff like the perfect deflect and stuff like that. I know exploding blaster bolts does, because this is where I tested it out, actually, in that same level. That was actually where I first tested out Indiana Jones as well. Back in my first playthrough. So most of them do stay on, and it makes some of these now ridiculously easy. So I'm going to be in the Y-Wing throughout the entirety of this. And this is what we're going to be doing for the next two parts. So for this part, we're focusing on those of the prequels, and in the next part, it's going to be the originals. Now the opening text is, for the most part, exactly the same. You know, it now says Minikit bonus Tatooine. But this first bit's going to be the same across character and Minikit bonuses for the prequels. It will then change when we get to the originals. And then everything after that, this first line will be different. So in the pod racing arena on Tatooine, and then everything is the same. Intrepid adventurers, blah, 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 a million studs. That will all stay the same after that. So the first paragraph is the same. So yeah, keep the tractor beam and everything. The first paragraph is the same across all three films of their respective trilogy. And then the only bit that's different each time will be the first half of the second paragraph. Then the rest of it will be the same across each bonus, all 12 bonuses, basically. Right, so in addition to the, I'm sure this is more difficult if you don't have the tractor beam, but for the most part, this is still ridiculously easy because it gives you so many studs. I mean, it has to, but the amount of breakable objects to give you a load of blue studs is ridiculous. Look at this. And this area is pretty big. I mean, I'm sure some of these are bigger than others, but this one is freaking massive. Right, this is no problem whatsoever. The 5-minute time limit is quite tricky for some of them in LEGO Star Wars 2, mainly the on-foot ones. But here, because you can, I swear some of these give you more studs than they used to. I mean, this didn't exist in LEGO Star Wars 2. But some of them I think also give you more studs, and because you can keep most of your extras on, they have become ridiculously easy. The 5-minute time limit is nothing. For several of these, it's really easy to actually just get it in under half of that. And they even give you power balls. I'm pretty sure there are no power balls in any of these in LEGO Star Wars 2, and yet they are there. They are going to be in the original levels as well. They actually give you power balls, so that doubles the score you're getting. Because in addition to the blue studs, this is also where you're going to be heavily featuring the purple studs that give you 10,000 each. So you do encounter a few of those in LEGO Star Wars 2, and there's a few more that have replaced certain objects in the complete saga. But this is where they really are. They are everywhere in the bonuses, both in 2 and here. It wouldn't really be until 3 that they start to become more common elsewhere. And even then, I'm pretty sure the instruction manual still doesn't even bring them up. I wanted to see what was in this tower. It turned out to be nothing but a power ball, and that cost me the half time. Just. Sometimes these towers have stuff in them, sometimes they don't. Usually they do. And it is sort of like a competition. If you're playing in 2-player, you can try and see who you can get the highest score. So because I'm the only one playing, then it means I get the point. If I had then replayed it, it would go up to 2. And so on. So it's nearly got the half time, but I was distracted by the tower. So that's it for the Phantom Menace, and that's pretty much all you're doing. It's similar to Lego City and New Town. It's just that, yeah, it's something you have to do a lot faster. Where in Lego City and New Town, they're time consuming. They can take a while, even when you know where everything is. You're not under any sort of time limit. It just counts how long you've spent in the level. There's no target or anything like that. You just have to do it. Here, each one is 5 minutes. Now, I recall, I think anyway, in LEGO Star Wars 2, I can't remember if it was the character or the mini-kit bonuses, but one of them is a bit different between each level. Like, I think one is 5 minutes, one is 6 minutes, one is 7 minutes, I want to say. I can't remember if that was on the character or a mini-kit. I'm not sure. Anyway, next up for the character bonus, it's Geonosis. And after this... No, it's not Geonosis. Right. In the droid factory on Geonosis, intrepid adventurers, blah-de-blah-de-blah-de-blah. That's the only reason I kept this screen scrolling, is just because that one tiny little bit. And I'm going to be doing the same for that in the bounty hunter missions. Because they'll mostly be the same. They'll change between the originals and the prequels, but they will otherwise be the same. Some of these areas are bigger than others. I'd say Mustafar is perhaps the most difficult to avoid dying in, because that takes place entirely on tiny platforms. But it's still ridiculously easy. They just... I mean... Yeah, I mean, even actually, you can just get onto that, and it gives you, like, what? That was 6 purple studs? That was crazy. And of course, if you want to make life more easy for you, just use the ghost character. What I would recommend is you do have another character that actually attack, and they can lure the enemies towards you. Look at all these purple studs. I mean, this isn't in LEGO Star Wars 2. Because, you know, that's the original trilogy, and LEGO Star Wars 1 didn't have all of this. I mean, the enemies we've seen plenty of times, they don't always tend to attack my partner character, even when they should do. Like, the Emperor did, boss characters seem to, but the other enemies are very selective with it. And they always have been, but here... I mean, that guy wasn't doing anything to Boba Fett, and neither is that one, or that one. Everything will respawn over time. So give it a few... I'm not sure how many seconds. I'd say like half a minute maybe. If not... No, probably less than that. It doesn't take long for objects to come back. And I think they still give you the same number of studs. Be kind of unfair if they didn't. And that also applies to enemies. They will all come back as well. Some areas require you to connect bridges, but you can only do them on specific sides. They're some of the more annoying ones, particularly when we get to Bespin. That one will have you do that quite a lot. Don't push the droids over the side. It's going to be pretty useless if you do that. All the Geonosians. I don't know if I mentioned... I might have mentioned this way back when we first fought Count Dooku. Geonosian is a useless character. He has a projectile. 2 kinds. It will just keep alternating. I don't think it necessarily alternates, but it seems to be random on whether or not you're going to get the standard blaster or that Geonosian bubble blaster thing. But they are so slow on foot. They move about the speed of a gonk droid. So they are ridiculously slow on foot. And they can hover it in the air. And I think it is unlimited. The problem is, when you shoot, it's kind of like Jango Fett, where if you shoot your blaster, they move backwards a bit. And you can't move while shooting. So Geonosians are really not useful. Battle droids aren't particularly useful either, especially here when I think they do see past your... I think they do attack you if you are a battle droid. They don't do that in 1. Super battle droids and droidicas will, but not the regular battle droids. Right, Minikit bonus is on Coruscant. So, on the city planet of Coruscant, intrepid adventurers compete to collect that. It's the desperate, ruthless life of a Star Wars fan. Okay, so this one is based off of Bounty Hunter Pursuits. Each level is simply takes its name from the planet it's on. So it might be Bespin, Tatooine, and it pretty much confirms the question I was asking earlier. Is it the forest moon of the planet Endor, or is the moon itself called Endor? According to this, the moon itself is called Endor, but I think the planet is also called Endor, but we can't see said planet. All we see is the moon, and it's a big moon. In fact, it looks about the size of most of the planets. Interestingly, none of the planets in Star Wars are gas giants. They're not like Jupiter or Saturn. They're all solid planets. which is that's mighty convenient, I have to say. I don't know how many planets there are. I think that I want to say not all of them are inhabited, but it always seems to be that something lives on them. Sometimes I don't know it, because I know there was an episode of the Clone Wars, season 1 episode, where they were like on a snowy planet, similar to Hoth, and they thought it was uninhabited, and then they found out that there was a rather primitive life form on it. I can't remember. I was never sure how you pronounce it. It's like Tulls. I forget what the name of the guys that wanted to invade it are. What the people from the planet were called, or what the planet was. I remember the names. The bad guy was called Chairman Cho, and was Senator Chuchi. That's all I remember there. Think of all of them. This one probably has the most breakable objects. Maybe. I don't know. There's so many breakable objects. What I do like about these levels, especially now that you can keep the extras on, is you can just go mad. Like, you can literally just go crazy. Hang on, are those TIE fighters? I never even paid attention to the enemies attacking me while I was playing this. That's a TIE fighter. Why are there TIE fighters in Attack of the Clones? It's not even like a Vulture droid or anything. That is a TIE fighter. Why are there TIE fighters attacking me? That is 60,000 plot holes right there. There are TIE fighters in Attack of the Clones. 60,000 plot holes, because that's how it works. You take a single plot hole and then you multiply it by a random number. I mean, the answer is still going to be the same thing because it's just one plot hole, but yeah, it's not one. You know, The Last Jedi has about 3 plot holes, but everyone's going to claim that there are hundreds, which means that there is at least 197 plot holes that they are making up. Of course, they never actually bother to say what those plot holes are. You know, why did Luke leave the map if he didn't want to be found? I always just thought he changed his mind. I couldn't believe that. Why don't the First Order just overtake the rebel ships? That I don't get. That was silly. I'll agree with anybody over that. It's like, why don't they just go past them? Right, we're on Mustafar this time. What was the other one? Oh yeah, why doesn't Holdo tell anyone her plan? That's annoying. That one is annoying. I mean, at least it means we get more like Oscar Isaac, because Poe, he really didn't have that big a role in The Force Awakens. We get to see more of him here on the volcanic world of Mustafar, or whatever it said. That's pretty much all you need to see. Okay, so this one you got to do a lot of jumping around, but that's literally it. The rest of it is all really easy. Some of the platforms do sink. The difference being is that unlike Darth Vader, there isn't a load of explosions happening, which means that it's all a lot easier to see. So this is no problem. Weirdly, and the plot holes increase, there are Geonosians around here. I mean, I guess they needed some sort of separatist enemy, and there aren't any on Mustafar, because all we had here was Obi-Wan versus Anakin, and they just went for Geonosians. You'd think it would be clone troopers, but no. They went for Geonosians. I mean, I think Poggle the Lesser was here, but that was about it. It's not like he did anything. It's not like any of them did anything. Still have this tower here, though. So I don't think you lose any studs when you die anyway. So all death is just a waste of a few seconds. I'm pretty sure you don't lose any studs when you die, even if you don't have the invincibility on. So where I see so many purple studs that make it easy, especially when you have a power brick. Down I go. I'm not really here. No, I'm not. I'm a ghost. See, look at that. 5 minutes they want you to beat that in. Again, in LEGO Star Wars 2, some of those are actually quite tricky. Not here. And even in LEGO Star Wars 2, they're really not that hard. The hardest, I would say, is Return of the Jedi's Minikit bonus. That's the most difficult, I think. In terms of on foot ones, I would have said it was Empire Strikes Back for the character bonuses. But they're still all ridiculously easy. So again, I'm going to be using the Y-Wing for all 6 of these. Yeah, so there isn't much to these. It's just, I just think that they're fun. You can just go nuts. They're probably quite fun if you're doing this in 2-player, because I'm not sure. I've never done this in 2-player, so I don't know if you just want to, if it's just you both combined have to get 1,000,000 studs and whoever had highest wins, or if you're both competing to get 1,000,000. So on the Wookiee homeworld of Kashyyyk, I could just be repeating myself this entire time, but I don't want to. Just wait till we get to the Bounty Hunter missions. That's going to be the last thing I do, I think. Once I'm done here, I'm going to go into challenge mode. And I'm still not sure how I want to handle that. Because with free play mode, you know, some videos contain 2 levels, some only contain 1. And then eventually I was just like, right, I don't care how long these videos are anymore. Return of the Jedi is having 3 parts, 2 levels each. Now the thing about challenge mode is you are under a time limit. And I think generally that time limit is 10 minutes. For the prequel levels, that's pretty easy. For the original levels, that's trickier. Because they're a lot longer. So what I think I might do... I haven't even practiced any of them yet. By the power of the internet. Maybe I can just cheat, I don't know. But what I might do is for the prequels, I might just have 3 levels per episode, and then for the originals, 2 levels per episode. So the prequel films will each be 2 parts an episode, and then for the originals, 3 parts per episode. Just because they're longer, especially when the prequel boss levels are mostly quite short. Darth Maul's a bit of a long one, but Count Dooku, General Grievous, both really short. Darth Vader's a bit of a longer one. Because otherwise, it's just free play mode, only you're trying to do it quickly and collecting blue minikits instead. But otherwise, it is just free play mode again. That's all it is. Alright, so that's the prequels done and over with. Next up, we're going to be doing the character and minikit bonuses for the original trilogy. Once I just decide to head over to episode 4. Hey, Ayla Sakura. And so, that's what we'll be doing next time. And I will see you guys then.